Good morning. Maximum students have joined the meeting, so we can start today's session. That is, yesterday we have started with the topic acids, bases, and non-aqueous solvents. In this regard, we have seen yesterday the two important concepts which was put forward by Arrhenius and Bronsted-Lowry. According to Arrhenius theory, it is seen that the acid can be defined as the substance which dissociates to produce H plus ions. All such substances are known as the acids, and bases are those which can produce OH minus, that is hydroxyl ions or hydroxide ion, are known as a Arrhenius bases. So according to Arrhenius concept, acid which dissociates to produce H plus ions and bases which dissociates to produce OH minus ions in water. Neutralization reaction is nothing but the acid and base, they combine to produce salt and water, is known as the neutralization reaction. So this is all about the Arrhenius concept. We have also seen that according to Bronsted-Lowry concept of acid and base, which is also referred as the proton transfer theory, according to this Bronsted-Lowry concept, we have seen that an acid is a substance which is a proton donor. For example, we have seen the ionization of acetic acid so as to produce CH3COO minus plus H plus. Here, during this ionization, protons are transferred or protons are released. Hence, acetic acid is regarded as a acid. And according to this concept, a base is a substance which is a proton acceptor. That means when acetic acid ionizes to produce CH3COO minus plus H plus, it can again regain the proton and it can produce acetic acid. Now we have also seen that it is possible to say that when acid loses a proton, that is H plus ion, the residual part of which has a tendency to regain the proton, hence it acts as a base. So it is a donation and acceptance of a proton by acid and the base. Acid donates and base accept the electrons. So based on this Bronsted-Lowry concept, we have defined one another parameter that is known as the conjugate acid base pairs. We have defined that the pair of substance formed by either loss or gain of proton that differ in the composition only by a proton. There is only one difference of the H plus ions. All such pairs of acid and base are known as a conjugate acid base pairs. So for every acid there is a conjugate base, and for every base there is a conjugate acid. In this regard, yesterday we have seen that when HCl ionizes, it can produce H plus and Cl minus. So HCl is an acid and its conjugate base is a Cl minus. Similarly, NH3, when it receives a proton, NH3 plus H plus, it gives NH4 plus. So NH3 is a base and its conjugate acid is NH4 plus. So for the every acid and base there are for acid there is a conjugate base and for base there is a conjugate acid. This we have seen. So we have found that there are two pairs of acids and bases during these cases. Now another concept that we are going to introduce today is a Lewis concept. According to this Lewis concept, the scientist G.N. Lewis in the year 1930, he proposed the concept of an acid, that an acid is an electron pair acceptor, or an acid is a substance which can accept the electron pair. That means, in other words, An acid is an electron deficient substance which is always love to attract the electrons. As it is an electron deficient species or it is an electron acceptor species, it is also an acid according to Lewis concept is also known as an electrophile. Electro means attraction for electron and phile means attraction. So an acid is a substance which has always attraction for the electron. Hence it is known as electrophile. Lewis also defined a Lewis base as Lewis base is nothing but it is an electron donor species. Why it is an electron donor? Because according to Lewis, a base is an electron rich species which can donate its electron pair to the acid. Hence, as it donates the electron pair, hence it is known as a nucleophile or nucleophilic substance. Nucleophile or nucleophilic substance means these substances have attraction towards the nucleus. That means the concept of acid and base are exactly opposite to each other. A acid is an electron lover and base is a nucleus lover. Hence, acid is known as electrophile and base is known as a nucleophile, attraction for the nucleus. So this is how the scientist G.N. Lewis he has put forward the concept of acid and base as acid is an electrophile and base is a nucleophile. So the acid and base are exactly opposite to each other. Acid is an electron lover while base is a nucleus lover. So I would like to give you one example in this regard that will clarify how the Lewis acid and Lewis base are electron and nucleus lovers. For example, just see here, according to this concept, the Lewis concept, which was put forward in the year 1930, that acid is a substance, it is a electron pair acceptor, which is also known as a electrophile. That means it is a lover of electron and base is a substance that donates the electron pairs and hence it is known as a nucleophile. That means it is a lover of nucleus. It always loves nucleus of an acid. So in other words, base is a electron rich species. Base is a electron rich species and hence it gives its electron to the acid. That means it loves the nucleus of acid. Now, how can we simplify this particular concept? For example, this is ammonia. When it reacts with boron trifluoride, it can give a new product as NH3. Just a minute. It gives NH3 and BF3. Here, this can be shown as like this, and this new form product is known as the adduct. Now, according to this concept, we have to define this acid and base. We have seen that acid is a substance that accepts electron. So here boron trifluoride behaves as a Lewis acid and as NH3 gives its electron to the nucleus of acid and hence it is known as Lewis base. So Lewis base gives its pair of electron to the acid. Just a minute, 1 second. So according to Jean Lewis concept, an acid is a electron pair acceptor. So here this boron trifluoride is a Lewis acid which accepts the electrons, and ammonia, that is NH3 containing a lone pair of electron, it is an electron rich species which can donate its electron. So this is how the new product that is formed is known as the adduct. So acid is an acceptor of electron and base is a donor of electrons. Now based on this concept, he has classified the Lewis acids. So, how the Lewis acids are classified? The Lewis acids are classified into three different categories. One is known as the simple cations. Second is known as the incomplete octet compounds, and third category is known as expanded octet compounds. So Lewis has classified the Lewis acids, which are nothing but these are acceptors of electron pairs. They have classified these Lewis acids into simple cations, incomplete octet compounds, and expanded octet compounds. The simple cations which are under the classification as a Lewis acid are nothing but the cations such as silver, then nickel, then zinc or cobalt. All these are simple cations. The smaller cations such as silver or H plus ions, they behave as the strong acids, and the larger cations such as Na plus and K plus, larger cations the ionic size of which is large and hence are grouped under the weak acids. So under simple cations, strong acids are there, that is larger cations, smaller cations, and the larger cations they behave as the weak acids. So this is how Lewis classified this as a simple cations. Now the second is known as now the second class under Lewis acids is nothing but incomplete octet compounds. What is the meaning of this class of incomplete octet compounds? We know the word octet means condition of 8 electrons. If certain compounds which is not having 8 electrons, then all such compounds are classified under incomplete octet compounds. For example, take for instance the example of BF3. How we can show this BF3? Boron is placed at the center, which is surrounded by 3 fluorine atoms. So here the total number of electrons are 2 plus 2 plus 2. That means 6 electrons are there, and hence there is a scarcity of 2 electrons so as to complete the octet, and hence this is grouped under the incomplete octet. A similar type of example may also be given as boron trichloride. Here again 2 electrons each are involved, that is contributed by boron and chlorine. So again there are 6 electrons. Still there is a scarcity of 2 electrons. Hence this is also incomplete octet compound. So boron trifluoride or boron trichloride, these are grouped under incomplete octet compounds. Or another example may be given as AlCl3, aluminum trichloride. This is a AlCl3. We can write this as a AlCl3. Again, there are 6 electrons. Scarcity of 2 electrons are there, hence this is again incomplete octet compounds. The third category is known as the expanded octet compounds. Expanded octet compounds means here more than 8 electrons are present, and hence all such compounds are categorized under the expanded octet compounds. What is the meaning of this? For example, if we look at the compounds such as PCl5, that is the phosphorus pentachloride. Phosphorus is at the center, and this is one chlorine, another, and third, fourth, and fifth. So this is a phosphorus pentachloride, sp3 dehybridization. We have studied this also. Here, 2 electrons between phosphorus chlorine, 2 electrons, 2 electrons, 2 and 2. So total number of electrons are 10 here, and hence this compound is grouped under the expanded octet compounds, which is exactly reverse to that of incomplete octet compound. So in this case, the expanded octet means such compounds, for example, phosphorus pentachloride or SF6 sulfur hexafluoride. Here, more than 8 electrons. Now, in all these cases, the total number of electrons are more than 8 or greater than 8, and hence the expanded octet word is used. So these are the three classes of Lewis acids, that is simple cations, incomplete octet compounds, and expanded octet compounds. Now, based on the same concept, the classification of Lewis bases is also carried out. So, Lewis acids are classified into three categories, and Lewis bases are classified again into three classes. The first is known as the all anions, which are those, for example, the chloride, the bromide, and the nitrate ions, which are electron rich. They are capable of donating their electrons and hence are known as the Lewis bases. So these Lewis bases are capable of donating their electron pairs and hence are known as the Lewis bases. So all the anions are grouped under the Lewis bases. The second class is known as the neutral molecules. Second class is known as a neutral molecules. Which are those neutral molecules? Which contains either one or more lone pairs of electron are known as the Lewis bases. For example, ammonia is a neutral molecule, water is a neutral molecule, or carbonyls. All these are the neutral molecules. They contain lone pairs of electrons and hence they form a second class, that is known as a neutral molecules. And third, that is known as the halides. The halides are nothing but, for example, these are all xenon compounds, XeF2, XeF4 and XeF6, that is xenon difluoride, xenon tetrafluoride and xenon hexafluoride. These are the halides with xenon. So fluorine is a halogen and hence are known as halides. So this form a third category. So from this we can conclude that the Lewis concept, which explains us that acid is an acceptor of electron, that means it is an electron deficient compound which has always attraction for the electron, so it loves electron, hence it is known as the electrophile. While bases are those substances which can donate their electron pairs to acid and hence as they are electron rich and hence are known as a nucleophile. Nucleophile means they have always attraction for the nucleus. Here we have given the example of boron trifluoride, which accepts the electron from ammonia so as to form the adduct. The Lewis bases are classified into simple cations, incomplete octet compounds, and expanded octet compounds. We are familiar with all these words, that is, the simple cations, incomplete octet, and expanded octet compounds. The Lewis bases are also classified into three classes: all anions, the neutral molecules, and the halides. So these are the three classes under Lewis bases. Now, the next concept, which is also based on the Lewis concept, is known as the Lux flood concept. This concept is known as a Lux flood concept. This concept is very easy to understand. Here, the scientist Lux, in the year 1939, he has put forward one concept of this Lux flood, and later on the concept was again extended by the scientist Flood in the year 1947, that is just after 8 years. So they have worked jointly on the oxide compounds. So initially, Lux has put forward certain concept regarding the oxide compounds. The concept was later on, after 8 years, it was again elaborately explained by Flood, and hence the concept is known as a Lux Flood concept. What is this Lux Flood concept? Here, according to this Lux Flood concept, an acid is nothing but it is a which accepts the oxide ion, and base is a substance which donates the oxide ion. So this means that acid and base are gainers, or base are the donors of the oxide ion. So according to Lux Flood concept, an acid is that substance which accepts oxide ion, and base is that substance which donates the oxide ion. For example, how we can exemplify this particular concept of Lux and Lux flood concept? For example, if we take for instance calcium oxide and silicon dioxide or silicon oxide, here this can form a new compound, that is CaSiO3. That means the oxygen of calcium oxide that is given to silicon dioxide, and hence it can form a new compound of CaSiO3. As calcium oxide donates its oxide ion to silicon dioxide, and as it donates, so this is a base, and as silicon dioxide accepts the oxide ion from calcium oxide, and hence it is known as acid. So this is how the acid base concept according to Lux flood that is exemplified. Another example may also be given. I would like to give here PbO plus SO3. PbO means it is a lead oxide, and this is sulfur trioxide. It can form PbSO4, that is the lead sulfate is formed. How this lead sulfate is formed? Lead oxide from which the oxygen is donated to sulfur trioxide. As from this lead oxide, lead has donated its oxide ion. As it donates the oxide ion, hence it is a base. And as sulfur trioxide accepts the oxide ion, it is an acceptor of oxide ion, and hence it is an acid. This is according to the Lux flood concept. So Lux flood concept is nothing but this concept tells us that the acid is a substance which accepts oxide ion, and base is a substance which donates the oxide ion. So this is how they give or accept the oxide ion. So the concept of Lux flood that wholly depends upon the donation and the acceptance of the oxide ion from either of the substances which we have seen while studying these two particular examples. So in the first example, calcium oxide from which oxide ion is donated to silicon dioxide. So here it donates the oxide ion, hence it is a base. And as this substance accepts the oxide ion, hence it is an acid, so as to form calcium silicate. And here in the second example, a same phenomenon takes place, that is the lead oxide gives its oxide ion to sulfur trioxide. Hence, as the lead oxide donates its oxide ion, and hence it is a base which is a donor, and acid as it accepts this oxygen to form SO4, that is PbSO4, hence it is a acid. So according to Lux flood concept, it is acid is a acceptor of oxide ion and base is a donor of oxide ion. So here it is showing that I am running out of time. So again you have to click the same link and you have to join. Again there are 3 to 4 minutes are there. I would like to again continue, but after 4 to 5 minutes we have to stop, and again we have to click the same link so as to rejoin our meeting. Now, one more concept that is I would like to introduce here. This concept is very important from the examination point of view, because so many times the long question has been asked on this concept. The concept is known as HSAB concept. This concept is known as a HSAB concept. That means hard and soft acids and bases. The concept is known as a hard and soft acids and bases. So from this HSAB concept, which was put forward by Pearson, so as to study the strengths of all the acids. So this concept that is known as HSAB concept is nothing but Pearson, the scientist who was working on the strength and the stabilities of all these acids, just now mentioned that the Lewis acid or Bronsted-Lowry concept, or according to Arrhenius theory, the acids and bases are classified. So according to this concept, which was put forward by Pearson, and hence it is also known as HSAB concept or Pearson's rule. So Pearson suggested a simple rule for predicting the stability of the complexes formed between hard and soft acids and bases. Hard acids prefer to bind with hard bases. So hard acid prefer to bind with hard bases. Similarly, soft acids prefer to bind with soft bases. So there is always hard interaction or soft interaction. Pearson has also suggested that a hard acid may not combine with a soft base. Even though they combine, the newly formed product may be unstable. Or a soft acid may not combine with a hard base. The newly formed product may be that may not exist, that does not exist. That means such products which are formed either with hard and soft interaction of both acid and base, they are not stable products, or sometimes they may not exist. Only physically or only theoretically such compounds may be possible. So according to Pearson or according to HSAB concept, the hard acids prefer to bind with hard bases and soft acid prefer to combine with soft bases. So this particular fact you should borne in mind, that what is the HSAB concept. HSAB concept is nothing but there is a always hard interaction and soft interaction is there. Hard acid always prefer to bind. I am using the word prefer, that means it always loves to bind with hard bases, and soft acid always binds with soft bases. So soft acid, soft base, hard acid, hard base. Such interactions always leads to certain stable molecule or stable product. And if the reverse case takes place, that is if hard acid combined with soft base, unstable product may be formed. So this particular concept is known as the HSAB concept, which was put forward by Pearson. And Pearson has also classified all these hard acid and hard bases, soft acid and soft bases based on the concept of the polarizability. He has put forward one concept of polarizability with regard to the classification of all the hard acids and all the hard bases. So this we shall continue after some minutes, 2 minutes. So I'm going to start here, stop here. You have to again rejoin.